Now, what is a foam? And more importantly, I'm going to show you an alcoholic foam, which is an easy way. It looks very intimidating, but it's actually very simple to do. So a foam is really just taking a liquid and injecting air into it and expanding it. That's it. And I'm going to use something here called an ISI. This is exactly what they use when you go to Starbucks and you get a hot chocolate or you get a double whipped frappuccino and they put the whipped cream on top. Basically what they're doing is this is a cream charger and they're charging it with NO2 or nitrous to take that cream and make it into a whipped cream, okay? So I'm going to show you a very easy way to make this. This is an egg white based foam. So egg whites are used to stick to the alcohol and basically you need a protein like egg whites to stick to the alcohol in order to expand it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take eggs. We're going to separate these eggs and form egg whites. We're going to do 1 cup of egg whites to 1 cup of St-Germain. Now the reason why I'm using St-Germain is when you're making a foam, typically something that has too much alcohol in it or not enough sugar content will actually not, it's a lot more difficult to turn into a foam. Sometimes you have to add powdered sugar to it, other things. But I want to make this really simple for you so that it's pretty much, it's two ingredients and it's 2 steps. St-Germain happens to be perfect. Sugar content to ratio of the percentage of alcohol. The alcohol is not too high, so it actually foams pretty well. Okay, so what we're going to do, these are actually farmers market eggs. If you can't tell, they're slightly green. And this is just local eggs that I got from the market. And what we're going to do is we're going to strain those egg whites. Now I'm looking to get a cup, right? So what you want to do is you want to put these back and forth. Now you might be asking, what am I going to do with that yolk? If you don't want to cook it, we can actually use this for a cocktail called a flip, which I'm going to talk about in another video. So you can actually save those. I'll either use them for a flip or you can make a sabayon with it, which is a whole other thing we can get into another time. I don't want to confuse you here. But let's just keep cracking these, getting the whites in there, and doing a pretty good job of separating these yolks.
Explain what you're doing.
So what I'm doing is I'm swishing these back and forth so that I'm keeping the yolk whole, but allowing the egg whites to slide out. That is a 1/2 cup of egg whites there. Now, let's say you don't have eggs, or let's say it's just not something you feel comfortable with. The easiest and best way is to actually go to the supermarket and just get pasteurized egg whites. You want to get them pasteurized. So let's do the second half of this with pasteurized. So I did a 1/2 cup with regular eggs. And now let's mix this in. We'll go all the way to a cup. So I'm at 1 cup right now. So I'm going to put 1 cup of egg whites in there. But really important for you to know that you can actually use both or either one. And then to 1 cup of St-Germain. St-Germain, if you don't know, is an elderflower liqueur. Now, the elderflower is a flower that grows in the springtime in the wild. These are actually from the French Alps. And this is a liqueur that's been around. It's very sweet and flowery, and it's very fresh tasting, but it also, like I said, it's got a very strong aromatic flower essence to it. So we're going to do 1 cup of that. There's a lot of great cocktails that people make with this. We actually call this the bartender's bacon because pretty much everything tastes great with it. So we'll do 1 cup of that. And what I like to do, get the seal on there and give that a really good shake. There you go. And then what you're going to do is take a packet of NO2, which are these. You might recognize these from your childhood. But These are NO2. So the difference between CO2 is for making soda, NO2 is for making creams. And what I like to do is I like to double or triple charge this, right? So what we'll do is I take one out, I'll put the first one in, and you'll hear it. You'll hear that sound. Hear that? That's the charge, which means I can just literally take this out. It's already in there. And before I charge this second one, let's give it a shake in between as well. And this is a pretty big container, so we're going to turn that again. There you go. Now what I'm going to do is I'll give it a shake. I'm going to test it on here, see how much of the foam has started or not. And if not, I might even add a third NO2. There you go. It's still a little drippy, as you can tell. See? It's definitely starting to connect to it, but it's not thick enough. So I'm going to add one more. This is something you can definitely order on Amazon. It's called an ISI cream charger, and they have them on Amazon, and you can also order the cartridges as well. But they run about $100, so it is definitely an investment. But what's great is this foam is so versatile. You can put it on champagnes, any kind of cocktails. It's great with cherries, fruits, and things like that. There you go. Okay, this should be perfect. I'll give that a little bit more shake. And then this, I can tell it's going to be great. Yeah, see what's happening? So it's actually starting to thicken, and now it's creating a foam, right? And there you go. That's perfect. And let's give that a taste. Perfect. It's got the right amount of consistency. It's sweet. It's got a flower essence to it. Really good. Now this is so versatile on so many different cocktails. You can put it on champagne. You could put it on a margarita. I mean, this is something that would add, something that might be sour. You're making adding a little sweetness to it. It's great on top of. You could replace this as a whiskey sour. Literally, if you're taking a cocktail, let's just say this is a whiskey sour, right? You would have, or any kind, even if you put champagne in this, what you would do is you would literally just take the foam, and you got to be very careful. You really slowly pull on the trigger and release it so it doesn't squirt too much. But you slowly put it, and you would just put that on top. And what's really important, creating a cocktail like this, you want to make sure that you have a surface area where they're actually going to taste the foam with the drink. So that's really important. So if they're just tasting the foam separately, you want to make sure this is a perfect glass where when they take a sip, they're actually going to taste the cocktail at the same time. So I like to make this the night before I'm going to use it. So what I'll do is I'll make it, and then I stick it in the fridge. And this can actually stay in the fridge pretty much for about 2 to 3 weeks. So I'll put that in the fridge, let that sit. And what happens overnight is that foam, that air, it actually starts to expand as it sits and as it refrigerates. And that means when you test the foam tomorrow, it'll be really powerful. So I can't wait to see what you come up with, and I can't wait for you to make my cocktail with it called the Last Tango in Modena.